Hey, it's Anthony Allen Ramos from GLAAD. Paula, how are you?
Hi,
Got the
Anthony.
representation with Girls5Eva. So excited.
I'm so excited, so excited.
I mean, did you ever think in all of your years in comedy that you might be in a girl group one day?
Never in a million years. I thought I might be in a barbershop quartet. I thought, I might be in like a drag king barbershop quartet at some point, but absolutely not would I be playing a former member of a girl group. So it has been a freaking delight.
It really is a delight. It's something I think we all need, something fun, but also love that you are playing a queer character and on the show. So what does it mean for you as someone, to in your own life as part of the community, then to be portraying this character who also is?
Well, I was very touched by the part of Gloria because I too was very closeted, pretty, I didn't come up in an age where it was easy to just come out when you realize it. And so there were many years that even into my years at SNL, it was earlier in the years, but I still took a few years once I moved to New York and was at SNL to really come out and to say out loud who I am, and to not, because I think at the time I kept, you know, I wasn't in a relationship, so it was kind of easier to be in the closet because I was just not in any relationship, and I never engaged that way. So no one could kind of figure out my past or my present or future of what I really, where I really fit in and was in my own soul. So I love that Gloria. I mean, in a comedy way, I love that Gloria finally came out, and then her marriage failed, and she's the first couple to get divorced. And because you fight so hard to have the equality to be able to get married, and then it's like, great, now I'm getting divorced. I'm getting gay divorced. It's the same as getting straight divorced. It sucks just as much, even worse, because we fought so hard for it. So I liked that part of the storyline because it gave me a sort of vulnerable feeling for that character. And yeah, that's the main thing. And I just love being of an age and in an era now where it's just so refreshing to just tell stories of individual people that are queer people that, like, you can tell it doesn't have to be the go-tos. It doesn't have to be the exact thing in comedy that people would always go to and some of those things were horribly offensive and some weren't, and very funny to our community as gay people. We would laugh and love it, but it just became sort of that everyone went to those certain guideposts of what's funny about being queer. And I love now that there can be more nuanced stories about human beings, and then you go, oh, they're gay in this. Okay, now we're going to watch their story, their individual story about it.
Absolutely. Did you find that after you came out creatively, with your work in comedy, that it got even better and you felt like you were just able to be more honest?
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure anyone I know of all my friends that have come out, including myself, I think when you finally do speak your truth in anything in your life, if you speak your truth, you feel unleashed in the most beautiful ways of not having filters. It's a filter that you carry around that, and I feel for young people, because I do think now young people do have more resources. If I would have grown up with the internet where I could watch young people talk about it's going to get better, and or people that came out and said, I'm young, but I know I'm gay," like that would have just changed my life. I mean, I would have had such a more unbraided life in terms of my own self-esteem and my own belief of hope, of just navigating in the world and not feeling like another. And
Mhm.
so I really feel like when you don't feel like, there's nothing wrong with feeling unique and like I am one of a kind. And like when I used to write in my journal, I loved feeling, because I was the only heavy girl among my friends, and I would always be like, what if I am just like that unicorn feeling of like, I'm just me and no one else is me. But I think there's also something beautiful about taking the filter off of feeling like the other all the time and just feel like you're living in the world and you get to enjoy all the bounty of the world without that disclaimer of like, well, I'm also gay. Is this okay? Can I move forward? You know, so
Totally.
it's joyful. It just unleashed joy in me, I think.
I love that. We need more joy. You know, thinking about it, when it comes to comedy, it's such a fine line. But when some comedians insist on making LGBTQ people the punchline,
Yes.
what's your take on that?
Well, my take, was multifaceted because of me being a plus size person. Because when I was growing up, I would watch things that not only were making fun of gay people, and definitely not written by gay people or people that were allies. I would watch where fat people were always the punchline also. And we used to have a thing we always used to talk about where, I remember very clearly in the 70s and 80s, and I think probably in the 90s and probably now you could find some sitcoms that still do it, is a very much a go-to of like, I'm going to fix you up with my cousin. Oh, is she hot? Oh yeah, she's really hot. You're going to love her. Oh my God, great. All this expectation, ding dong. She opens it up. It's a fat girl. And then it's like, what? And the audience is like, oh my God. And I felt like that a lot with that. When I would write about fat, I would always say I'm writing it from the inside out. Like I had written a sitcom that never was on the air, but it was called Thick and Thin. And I wrote jokes that I knew that fellow people of size would laugh at really hard because they'd experienced it. It was like things that happen at a Weight Watchers meeting, things like the slightly overweight woman that stands up and is like, this is really hard for me because I've always been fat. It's like, yeah, well, you're fat now, sit down and shut up. And so with gay humor, it's the same exact thing to me, is you can tell when someone writes something that it's not meant to harm that community that you're writing it from. It's to have a take that's funny about a specific character that's gay, that's like really a funny, nuanced thing. And of course, it's funnier when gay people write it. It's funnier when, women write women usually. Like in my head, it's like from experience. I used to write so many characters from my life, from my family. So when I was able to write, for example, Elliot Page, back in the day, hosted SNL. I wrote a character based on when I was younger and trying to be straight to the world, and I would go to like an Indigo Girls concert, and I would come home and I'd be like, that was really a good concert. That was so. It was like there was just so many women like together in a friendship, and I was like, and we wrote that, and she is so funny in it, and and now Elliot, I just celebrate Elliot now, and the journey of people that like you could write something that's genuine that people go, oh my God, I did that. I remember that. I remember that feeling, and it's funny to them, and you don't feel like you're taking someone that's already in a vulnerable community and making them the punchline.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And congratulations also on your recent marriage. But thank you so much. I'm out of time. Girls5Eva is a blast. I am here for Gloria's journey. I can't wait to see what happens. So sending you the best. We'll talk really soon.